Hello, dear friends. This is Tuyakbayev. Kazakhstan is our common home. Viewers and participants of Ulken EU program are members of one family. And this dialogue that we have between us helps us to maintain peace, improve health, and create conditions for the prosperity of the entire nation. And it also nurtures a comfortable society and encourages sharing the interests with the world community. Today we will talk about perhaps one of the most important topics of the current reality, online and digitalization. The 2020 highlighted the necessity for global digital integration. Quite recently, we had a choice to buy a smartphone or not, to meet in person or use a video conference, to receive an offline service or to receive it via an application. But very soon, every resident of planet Earth will have to accept virtual reality as a natural part of his life, in one way or another. The future belongs to a new kind of human. Let's call him conditionally a digitalized human being. That is, the one who knows how to think, work, build relationships, and realize his potential through the internet and its capabilities. I would like to invite Almas Tuyakbayev to our studio. He is the one who brings up this new generation of Kazakhstan.
Almas Tuyakbayev, co-founder of a mobile app development studio and educational project for programmers and mobile app developers.
Welcome to our studio.
Good day, SL.
Figuratively speaking, you came to our studio from the future. Your projects are aimed at nurturing a completely new society. I mean, mobile applications for students and school children and a training program for professional programmers. Projects that you launched together with your partner, Almas Tuyakbayev. What knowledge do users get from your mobile applications?
We have known each other for a long time. We've been friends, and at some point we decided that we could start a company together. Then in 2015 we decided to launch the Factorial program. This program was held during the summer, during long vacation time when students are free. So we invited them to join the first season of our program. What kind of things they learned during this program? Since in 2015 it was important to know how to develop mobile application, we decided to teach them to do that first. And accordingly, we trained the first graduates of this program in the amount of about 50 people. Since then, our program has been in existence for 4 years because we took a break in 2019. So we started the program together with Almas Tuyakbayev, and now we are partners in our company, and Factorial is our product. At the moment, my area of responsibility is to run the Jugstone company, which is engaged in the design of the information systems, where we study the users, the market business technologies in small details, and on the basis of all this data, we launch our information systems. It can include web applications, mobile applications. One of such examples is eGov mobile application, which you probably already used.
Of course. I think everyone is using it now.
And probably you can know that it's easy to sue. This is one of our products.
May I ask you another personal question? Earlier you mentioned that the first graduates of the Factorial program was about 50 people who were engaged in it, or rather, I guess, you taught them how to create mobile applications. How long it takes to learn to develop such a thing?
That's a very good question. In fact, it all depends on your programming level at the start of the program.
So that means you have to have some level of knowledge before you come to study in the program.
Absolutely right.
A person
No, he
cannot
definitely
learn
can.
such a thing
However,
without
it will
any
take more
foundation.
time. For example, if we consider the level of knowledge on the scale from 0 to 100, then 100 means a person knows everything very well, and he can create mobile application himself. If we say 0, then this means a person never created mobile application. On average, our program lasts from 2 to 3 months, and during this time we can bring a person from 0 to the level about 30 or 40.
So in 3 months, a person can learn how to create applications.
Yes, but if a person is more experienced, then accordingly he will be able to learn even more. Through the level of the increase, his knowledge and skills will be relatively the same.
Are the training is held online in the sense, are classes being held live right this very moment, or are they pre-recorded?
That's a very good question. The first 4 years, the first 4 seasons, we conducted the training offline. That is, there was such an n factorial effect. If you will, when young people and sat side by side with each other, in one room a kind of partnership was created. When people support each other and accordingly it's harder for them to get distracted by something else, people are more focused. From morning to evening they are only engaged in learning and improving their results.
A high level of concentration, of focus, and intensive mode of learning. But you still didn't answer my question. What I meant is that these courses of yours, well, for example, let's take a person like myself. I'm asking this to clarify this for our viewers, in case if they would also like to learn how to create mobile applications. So I came to you with no foundation knowledge, absolutely no knowledge in programming, and I decided to learn it, and will take me 3 months, as you mentioned earlier. Will these classes be live or will they be pre-recorded? Why I'm asking this, the fact is that everyone's learning speed is different. Someone can be present online, while others, let's say, can be present at an open webinar.
Yes, you are right. This year in 2020, the N Factorial is being held entirely online.
But are these lessons pre-recorded or are they held online?
They are live online lessons, but they are recorded too.
So a person can watch them later.
For those who didn't have a chance to catch them online, then yes, they can watch them later.
The program for mobile application developers has been in existence for 4 years. How many applications have been created and how many have entered the market? Would you name the projects that you remember?
I can name the old project. Application Killing or Daughter-in-Law was developed by one of our participants, Didara Pernibayeva. She's a graduate of 2015. She created this project. At the time we had about 80,000 downloads per day. And for 2015 this was quite a solid figure for the Kazakhstan market. Later on, this application existed for some time, but just like any business, it must be self-sustaining. And so unfortunately, at the moment, this application does not exist. However, in the time of its existence, it allowed young women to share their experiences, give advice to each other among the other girls. The Stintel project is where people could learn programming languages. There was an application, GTA, where you could find your relatives and accordingly all your tribal origins. From more recent projects, then you can use the app and it will offer you a recipe based on what you have in the refrigerator. For example, in the evening during quarantine, you don't know what to cook for yourself, then you can use the app. It will offer you a recipe based on what you have on the refrigerator. In general, there are a lot of examples, about 200 applications. They are currently available in the App Store and Play Market. You can see them, download, use them. Probably our biggest achievement is our students. This is our community, which still exists. At the moment, we are on the 5th season, since it has already been conducted for 4 years and the 5th season is in 2020. And our graduates are now working all over the world. This can be said for sure. They study and work in the same large companies that we all know very well. All of them are presented. At the moment, about 400 students have been part of the program.
Is it good when a student is better than a teacher, right?
Yeah, I think it is most right thing.
Participation in the N Factorial program is free, right? How many applications did you accept? How many specialists did you manage to train in these 4 years? And what are the prospects for these people?
For the first 4 seasons, we trained over 400 people who created over 200 apps. At that time, all these applications were naturally free, and the participation itself was also free, absolutely free. But naturally, everything has its own price. We closed some part at the expense with the help from our sponsors, who decided to help us. Well, we also closed some expenses ourselves. At the moment, we have changed the model of the business project. At the moment, you have to pay to participate in our program. But if you compare it with the amount of knowledge that a person, our participant, gets, then this is particularly, one might say,
knowledge is priceless.
Yes, knowledge is priceless and it is not so expensive.
This year, the Quant Online Programming School was launched on the basis of the Bureau of Continuous Professional Development at the Astana International Financial Center. Tell us more about it.
Yes, of course. Our school probably responds to almost all the challenges the humanity faces today, and at the moment it is a global pandemic. At the school itself, from the very first day, met the criteria of the new time because it was born in the cloud. Now there is even such a term as cloud-born, that is, born in the cloud. Our school operates almost completely online. From the very beginning, we accepted about 300 students, and in addition to this, our project is international. We have students from about 10 countries of the world. All of our students are located in different time zones. We train them on the Quant platform. This is a platform which infrastructure allows a person to study independently, without teachers. However, we have mentors, their role, through them we can help our students. You know, at the moment the most important thing in education is not the amount of content or the quality of content now, it is knowledge in its purest form. In fact, I would say that student motivation plays a vital role here. If we can keep the motivation of students at a high level for a longer period of time, we will achieve results. After all, thanks to the development of the internet, there are no problems with content. But there is a big problem with how to motivate the student, where to guide him correctly and how to identify talents and help those talents realize all the opportunities,
How
their
old
full
are your
potential.
students? They're probably both school children and an older generation.
We have students who are 15 years old. They are not students, they are practically school children, mostly from Nazarbayev intellectual schools. And also there were people over 40 years old. Well, of course, the average age range falls on 22-25-year-olds.
How easy it is to learn for people who are over 40?
After 40, well, you know, I have an example. We had a woman whose original training was in physical education, but now she works as a programmer. So she had a 180-degree change in her career. So if a person has a strong desire to learn, it's possible.
What a sharp turn from physical education
that's
to IT.
possible.
Great. How many applications have you received and how many students are currently studying at Quant?
The first flow of application on Quant was in the amount of more than 2,000 applications. More than 350 people were accepted. They finished their first season. The program is divided into seasons, and the interviews took place. Interviews were also held with experts, our partners from the Silicon Valley. They also conducted interviews themselves. And the second flow was opened especially from the beginners. It's called Quantum Reactor Program, and at the moment, young people are also finishing their studies. And after that, we will carry out some analysis, and then the best guys will go to the first season.
И далее самые лучшие ребята пройдут уже на первый сезон.
If it's no secret, Almas, in case our viewers will become interested, how much does it cost to study at Quant? Are there any requirements?
Хороший вопрос.
Good question. For now, season 1 at Quant is completely free, and there is a minimum price for the second season. It's very symbolic.
Очень символическое.
For example,
If I'm not mistaken, about 30,000 tenge.
30 тысяч тенге.
is it for a season or a month of training?
This is for 12 months of training.
12 months of training,
That's why I say it is a
30,000
very
tenge.
symbolic price.
Are there any requirements?
Требования есть.
Requirements, there is a certain admission process. You will find out the form on the basis of which we can accept you. Well, you can say so. Almost the majority of those who wish and applies are accepted for the reactor program. We probably won't understand who a person is in an hour. A person reveals his abilities during work. And so, this pre-season program, which is a reactor program, it gives us the answer to the question, who wants to work full-time for a long run? These people accordingly have a higher degree of success. And that's why we try to accept almost everyone.
Вероятности успеха, она выше у таких ребят. И для этого мы принимаем практически всех.
Almas, you mentioned earlier during our conversation that you have some connection to the site.
We designed
Ulken.
the interface. This is what you see when you open it. And at the moment, one of the products that you can download, try, see for yourself is eGov mobile application. The current version of the eGov website is old. It hasn't been updated yet. But there is also the site gov.kz, which you can also see. The idea was very simple. It was the unification of 19 government agencies, the unification of design and user experience. Thus, you can practically know how to find information on the website of our Ministry of Internal Affairs, and then apply this knowledge on how to find information on the website of the Ministry of Health, because they are structurally very similar.
Almas, thanks for sharing such a valuable information for our viewers. We wish you good luck in everything, in life and in your new developments.
Спасибо.
Thank you very much and goodbye.
Bye-bye. The IT technology market is becoming the most popular in the new post-quarantine world. Everyone understands the need to go online, both service and product providers and consumers. I can't wait to invite to the studio the general director of the company, which this year presented the Digital ID project. And by the way, some banks and other companies have already adopted the novelty. This document was created to make it easier to get services online. And most likely, soon every citizen of Kazakhstan will have it. In the studio, Nurtai Abilgaliyev. Let's get acquainted.
Nurtai Abilgaliyev, programmer, CEO of Digital Product Development Company.
Hello, Nurtai.
Hello, Asel.
Let's leave the intrigue for later, and let's talk a little bit about you. The official page of your company says the following: expansion of opportunities with innovative digital solutions. Please tell us in more detail what is hidden behind these words and what tasks does an employee of your company performs on a typical day.
Thank you very much for an important question for us. In fact, I think these words express the mission of our company. In other words, we're essentially creating digital solutions to improve people's lives. This is what every employee in this company does every day. What does it mean? There are many spheres of human life where technologies have already been integrated on a very deep level and made people's life better. We're witnessing now what a smartphone can do today. I think no smartphone, no computer.
Our entire life is on smartphones.
That's true. That is, they really improve our lives in many ways. But it seems to us that this is still not enough. It seems to us that new technology hasn't yet entered all areas of human life. They could also improve those areas that today still remain in such an old, traditional paper form. We believe that technology has not yet reached all segments of the population, right? We are used to do it in the big cities. I think that ordering food in the city today, paying for something from the phone is very simple. The same cannot be said about the regions. If you look at our country as a whole, there are still many places and many people who haven't yet been helped by technology. And we strive to create products that would be convenient and accessible to all Kazakhstan citizens, no matter where they live. This is precisely our mission. And probably if we talk about what every employee of our company is doing every day, he's trying to find those areas of a person's life that can be made a little easier through the internet, through smartphones and other technologies, to make this life a little more convenient in some aspects. Help people save money, help people get real benefits from the technologies they are developing today.
That is, you're developing mobile applications. What is the functionality of these applications?
Applications are definitely one of the forms of technology we develop. We have several of them today. We experiment a lot with that applications that might be useful today. Probably today the i2 platform is such a flagship of our developments. It's like a universal application, a universal platform that combines several functions. It is primarily a communication platform. It gives an opportunity to organize various communities for groups of people. It gives them the opportunity to communicate among each other using the phone. In addition to communicating with each other, we're building a platform on which it will be convenient for a person to interact with business, organizations, and the governmental institutions. You probably know that the interaction with government agencies, despite the rapid development of e-gov, for example, at such regional levels, is still not at the very...
It's rather bad.
Yes, it still requires some work, and there is a room for technology to apply. We have an application that contains payment functionality. Let's say we recently launched an e-wallet called i2pay, and with it you can pay for services, you can transfer money to someone else, and so on. Therefore, the application contains the functionality that we consider necessary for the needs of various segments of people.
Nurtai, you mentioned the payment system, and how is it different from others?
Смотрите, платежный...
See, the payment system is essentially in e-wallet, right? It is a tool that allows people to use their money. When it comes to money, there is always a question of security, always a question of easy to use
And favorable deals.
and favorable deals, of course. And therefore, the focus that we make in the development of our payment system is primarily based on the fact that there should be no commissions when paying and using the money, because this is the money that belongs to you. Secondly, we use the widest network of payment terminals in Kazakhstan. As I said earlier, there is a significant difference in the opportunities that are available to the residents of big cities, where there are a lot of ATMs, banks at every step, and let's say to our residents in the regions, they in turn have limited options. In the regions, network of bank branches are not so developed, and therefore we are making focus on the terminals network that allows people to both deposit money and withdraw money. Today, i2pay uses the widest terminal network in the country, Kassa 24, and we believe that such availability, low fees for user transactions will be very attractive to Kazakhstan citizens, and will be the main key advantage of our system.
Nurtai, you have a strong team. At least that's what they say about you in the digital service market. Please tell us how and where do you find employees? What criteria do you use to select them? And what kind of opportunities are your recruits getting?
Yes, indeed. We believe that human capital, the people who develop products that work with consumers, is one of the most important elements of our business. Therefore, we are serious about putting together a strong team. We already have it today. We try to combine, perhaps experience, skill together. We're always looking for the best professionals in the market, and not only in our market. We're studying those specialists who work, say, in neighboring countries. At the same time, we don't use the service of any recruiting agencies. It's important for us that the HR specialists who work in the company are immersed, on the one hand, in the products that are being developed in our company. And they know well what kind of needs products require, what competencies they need. And yet they are very well immersed in what is happening in the market itself. I think they know most of the programmers and IT specialists who are in the country by their first names. And so they're in the constant search process in order to find the best person who could fit the job. The criteria for selection in our company are, of course, the professional qualities of a person, but also his values. That's his so-called soft skills, his ability to work in a team, his interest in the social mission of our company.
Способность работать в команде, его заинтересованность в социальной миссии нашей компании. Вы знаете,
Including probably cultural and moral qualities.
Yes, probably. These are such personal qualities. One of the aspects that we are looking at, that we are considering, are the soft skills. We need a person to correspond and accept the values of our company also. We are trying to develop such a rather unique corporate culture. We are a young company. It's important for us that we have general principles of how each employee works. That's why we have chosen 5 core values for ourselves as a team. The first value is a user focus. We believe that our mission, everything we do, should be subordinate to what users need. When making a decision, we always try to focus on their needs. The second value is meaning. We believe that everything we do should be meaningful. It should always correspond not to the form of how you are doing certain things, but precisely about what for, what do you want to achieve. For example, like many companies use the Agile approach. The Agile approach is quite a high thesis. Here are many companies in the market and abroad, including they are trying to apply it in their own, more decorative motivates. Because it is a very striking form, it's very fashionable to say Agile, but we try to find the key meaning in it. We try to understand that Agile is required in order to be flexible. Agile is needed in order to be the first and foremost consumer-oriented.
Can you please elaborate more? What does Agile mean for those of us who might not know about it?
Sure, Agile is a philosophy of flexible product development. It is based on several principles, each of which reflects several principles. For example, there is such a principle that readiness for change is more important than compliance with previous plans. Or, for example, there is such value that a working product is more important than documentation. For example, there is such value that in the end the user ultimately decides everything. With these values, they enable many companies in the world today to actively develop products with better speed. They have developed products that people like more, that suit them better. And we also believe that this is a principle and the approach that is important in product development, and we try to apply it with meaning, because meaning is one of our 4 values. We have a very important value called a team. We talked before about specialists, and we value every professional. In general, we believe that the genius of each person is generally not limited by anything, but even more can be achieved when a good team has gathered together. Because any person has flaws, no person is perfect, and it's quite possible to assemble an ideal team.
Where people will complement each other.
Exactly, complement. That is, employees will compensate each other's shortcomings and work in synergy. Well, nothing compares
How do you
to
inspire
that.
your team?
Therefore, the value of the team is important to us. The main thing that inspires our team is, of course, the mission. This means that today we have the opportunity not only to work to earn money, we are not just interested in making profit. We want to achieve the so-called social impact. That's we want to bring real benefit to the people with whom we work and benefit to society in general. And this is probably a very big motivation aspect in what we do. We have value called courage. Yes, we believe that the only thing that can set such limits.
Human capabilities.
Setting limits, it's all in people's minds. In fact, everything you can think of, if you have conceived some kind of solution that will help you achieve your mission, make someone better or help someone, then this is achievable. Therefore, courage is one of the sources of energy, the source of strength for our team. We understand this and try to fight all the barriers between us that may arise between us. Well, and finally, last but not the least, it's probably one of the most important things, it is transparency. Transparency is needed very much in order to have correct, sincere relationships of trust within the team, first of all. And transparency is very important with those stakeholders, with those users with whom we work. Therefore, this is such an open approach, and today I would very much like to tell you openly about what we're doing. An open approach to working with our partners and customers is one of our values, because we believe that this is foundation of trust and foundation of such long effective relationships. These 5 values are one of the criteria by which we recruit our people.
And this is how we skillfully elicit the secrets of a successful team, right? Nutai.
Sure.
Thank you very much for sharing this. Nutai, you and your team are now at the beginning of a new era. Including with your contribution, now the foundation is being created on which, well, practically everything will later stand. After all, the world, thanks to the pandemic, will inevitably turn into a digital format. How does it feel to be a pioneer?
This is inspiring. I think it really, well, you know how the IT industry was born, right? How did the internet start? All this is in a sense of the result of the work of enthusiasts. This is all the result of the work of people who like their work doing. They believe that. Sitting their garages in other countries, they believe that.
In their ideas.
Yes, they believe that they created something really big. Yes, an idea is born and people believe in it. And these people, they filled these projects with their energy, their faith, which eventually turned into something big. And of course, given what we are striving for, given the fact that we really want to improve the lives of a large number of people, it's very inspiring to participate in this. Probably you need to be, you need to be more realistic and modest. We're not only pioneers. I'm very glad that in Kazakhstan it is in fact a vast industry, the IT industry. We have a lot of partners in fact. We have a lot of associates in other companies. And together we're all really trying today, with the help of technologies, create such products and services that would make their life more comfortable and better. And to participate in this, of course, is a great honor, a great responsibility for all of us, and one of the sources of our motivation and energy.
Okay, now let's talk about the product. Please tell us about the Digital Passport project.
Yes, Digital Passport is a project called Digital ID. That is how the team see the name of the product. A very interesting product, actually, because the team was given a task to make a completely electronic ID. In fact, a completely electronic instrument that will help people to use official services, to identify themselves remotely, including using the phone. And we try to use the best that technology can offer. For that we want to use a person's face so that he can confirm his identity, so that he can confirm with his smile and he really agrees to perform this or that action. Yes, that is, we want to create a product that will take security and trust standards on the internet to another level. Because today, the internet, along with the many advantages it provides, it also carries many threats. There are a lot of scammers on the internet.
Наряду со многими преимуществами, которые он дает, он таит в себе и много угроз. Интернетом пользуются мошенники.
Yes, cybercrimes, for example.
В интернете есть интернет-преступность, потому что
Crime, because as more people and more money involved in it, it attracts everyone. Therefore, we want to create an instrument that would give a person the best opportunities to use the internet on
технологии использовать интернет на таких доверительных условиях, чтобы максимально снизить риски.
Вообще большим препятствием
In general, consumers themselves are a big obstacle to digitalization, right? Because they can be understood. Well, why them? Us. Because our personal data is stored on the servers of different organizations. And we know, unfortunately, cases when this information was leaked.
этой информации.
You know, there is also a separate world of internet crime. We talked about this with you, Nurtai. But basically, these people are simply not sufficiently informed.
Да,
How long do you think it will take for Kazakhstan to fully master
для того, чтобы
digital literacy? And what should happen for this?
Thank you. This is a very important question. I think that, in fact, these processes are happening much faster than they are visible to us. And if you look at different segments of the population, then his speed with which people increase their digital literacy, with which they realize that they need to take care of their personal data. They need to take care of the personal data of their children. This is an awareness. It goes at different speeds, and I think it goes faster for different consumers. What do we want to do? So that in those products that we will develop and those products that we will offer into the market, we want a person to be able to understand in the most transparent, easy and accessible way how this data will be used and how he will be able to manage it. Let's say the same digital ID product which we talked about a minute earlier is aimed at ensuring that a person, when using various services and products on the internet, could consciously choose what data he would like to give. He could manage the data which he provided and could give general consent.
Yes, so it wouldn't be used by default.
Yes, because today there is no mechanism for a person to formally and truly voluntarily consent to the use of these data. This is exactly what we're aiming at. But in terms of speed and how long it takes for the whole of Kazakhstan to master this, I think this is a process that will go fast enough. I think that in the nearest future, in 3 years, most of the population will use products and will understand very well what these products can and what kind of data these products use in general will use them comfortably.
Давайте перейдем к
Let's move on to the security issue, shall we?
что делается.
What can we do to keep our personal data safe?
Значит,
Well, if we talk about the products of our company, then we approach the issues of IT security and cyber security very seriously. We only store data in encrypted form. We always receive consent from users, at the same time explain why the data will be used. Therefore, from the point of view of the products we'll develop, I am sure that the risk of information leakage
But
is
even
very
the
low.
word very low is a little alarming.
я
I
думаю,
think that one of the most important, one of the most frequent sources of data leakage is usually people themselves.
наиболее частых источников утечки данных, как правило, являются сами люди.
Сам
A
человек.
person himself.
Yes.
Я
Социальные
скажу так,
сети.
Do you mean social networks? Various entertaining tests where we answer questions.
совершенно
Keep it in mind.
Yes, that's right. We're sure, we're completely confident in the capabilities of technologies, in those protections that technologies provide, but we can't control what a person does with his data. So I think that the question of really increasing literacy so that people understand and think about how their data is used, which they provide to various applications, social networks. It is one of the most important aspects of that needs to be changed. As people become more aware of this, I think that risk will also decrease.
будут снижаться и риски.
То есть, а
That is, use these resources consciously.
какими
What projects are you developing now?
We have several directions. We have a direction related to city services, where we give people the opportunity to easily and conveniently interact with, for example, mayors or utility services. This is the I2 City project. It allows using the phone to contact them or send a complaint or file an application for any problem that a person may face in the city. Poor quality roads, poor lighting, or there is a puddle where it shouldn't be. Any of these requests can be submitted quite easily, literally, in a few minutes on the phone, and the city services will definitely respond. We have products aimed at the B2B segment, so called infrastructure products. Digital ID is one of the such products. We also have e-commerce products. Yes, I'd like to give an example of a product called DoSmart. It is a very friendly, helpful and intelligent shopping assistant. It has several models today. In general, the task of the product is to tell you, as a consumer, the opportunity to make the most profitable purchase. He tells you where this or that one of another product can be bought cheaper. He tells you where there are discounts and promotions. It also allows you to receive cashbacks for your purchases. That is, even if you do not use the card, you just need to show the check that you spent a certain amount in the store and you'll receive a cashback. It has modules that let you analyze where your products are cheaper. It lets you know how to make really smart purchases.
And save your time.
It helps you to save time, save money, and just make your purchases smarter. We have products. Just recently, we launched a platform called i2 Apps. It is an integral part of the i2 platform. It's a kind of marketplace for other services. So we're already connecting various partners in the market on the basis of the i2 platform. I wanted to say that we're open to working with external partners, and this gives a person the opportunity to use various services with the help of just one application, which will cover different needs of his life. Let's say, on the basis of this platform, when he 42,500 program appeared, the payment of social benefits, we realized that giving a person the opportunity to apply and receive money using the phone is one of the great opportunities. It can really make life easier, because people shouldn't spend a lot of time on it. And we created an application based on i2 apps, which makes it easy to submit an application and check the status of your application, and helps to understand why you were denied such payment. This is one of the servers that all the moment was used by more than 2 million people. This approach to finding the various spheres of people's lives that need improvement, finding those areas in which, with the help of technology, with the help of a smartphone and the internet, they could become better, more convenient, that can help you save money, save time. It's constant research that we are on in our company.
Well, no time. In other words, these applications are created in order to simplify our life. And the most important thing is to save time. And time, they say, is the currency of the future. Therefore, Nutai, we thank you very much for investing your funds in our project.
Thank you very much for interesting questions.
We wish you digital success.
Thanks.
The Digital Silk Road is a beautiful name that hides many complex challenges. In order to introduce the broadband 5G internet in our country, it's necessary to unite the largest players in the telecommunications market. We'll talk to one of the leading internet providers in Kazakhstan and get the latest news about 5G. I would like to invite Manas Ospanov, Director of the New Business Development Department of Kazakh Telecom, to our studio.
Manas Ospanov, Director of New Business Development Department of a telecommunications company.
Hello, Manas. Welcome to our program.
Hello, Asel.
And I'll start right away with the first question. The total length of your fiber optic communication lines is over 11,000 kilometers. However, this is not enough to completely resolve the issue with 5G in Kazakhstan. Please tell me how the forces were distributed in resolving this issue, which companies are in the game, and what actions are being taken to implement the project.
Thank you, Asel, for your question. The topic is very interesting. I can say this 5G has not yet begun. Its implementation hasn't begun in Kazakhstan. Here in our country, it's still in research stage. If we talk in general about massive internet coverage in Kazakhstan, then Kazakh Telecom is a major player here, but there are a number of other players too. And we're using different technologies in the telecommunications market to cover different parts of the country. That's if you take a metropolis, the highest speed internet that you know is used there. There is ID.net, for example. If you go a little further, other types of technologies are used there, which are cheaper with a lower speed. In fact, we can say that Kazakh Telecom is constantly looking for new technologies that will be economically feasible to implement in various fields.
It should be feasible.
Yes, feasible, because not only in relation to 5G, there are several factors involved in it. Now, if we talk specifically about 5G, then several factors affect its development. It's the cost of technology itself, which will become cheaper from year to year, right? Also, it includes the readiness of the market, because even if now we will massively cover the territory with 5G, you know that only a few will be able to use it, because
that is,
there are
our
no
devices are still
5G.
not ready.
Not ready. Yes, they are not ready, and they are relatively expensive. This is such a premium segment, and now it's only available to some. And the third parameter, is the market demand. Now our people are not ready to pay a lot of money for fixed mobile communications. In general, our tariffs are generally on the world stage. They are cheap, and 5G will still be expensive at the beginning, right? This generally affects the fact that the technology will be used in limited terms on the segment of individuals. There will be limited, It will be a wild market or used in some industrial
What
sectors.
is the advantage of 5G and what makes it different from other networks?
In simple terms, this means more speed, it will have less delays. In fact, these are two basic to most basic parameters. From whom does it matter? For instance, for gamers. Now you see, especially during a pandemic, everyone has gone into virtual reality, everyone is using their mobile phones, everyone is sitting at home.
It also develops cyber sport,
Yes, it does.
as far as I know, in Kazakhstan.
Yes. Well, for cyber sportsmen, unfortunately, any delay can play a decisive factor when there is literally a millisecond and you can lose simply because you did not have to press a button in time.
Well, okay, now the game has been turned into a sport and quite a lucrative one, as far as I've heard. What else can you say besides this? Or rather,
You know where
what
5G will
industries?
be important after all? These are areas like the Internet of Things, if you have heard of it, right? M2M, AUT, for example. These are autopilots. In fact, they're already being tested. The autopilot, when a car is driving and it is being controlled via camera and it is controlled remotely by a person. This is only possible with 5G, because the delays are small and other wireless technology will make you just a fraction of a second late. If you turn it later, then respectively some kind of accident can happen. This is one of the cases.
It's dangerous.
Yes, the second case is medicine. That's when it will be possible to control remotely, for example,
Control what?
a robot,
Who will?
operate on a human being. But this is just such a case, to tell you in simple terms, because again, stability is very important, right? It's impossible to perform the operation with a delay. That is, in fact, it is possible to create the effect of presence from different parts of the country and even the world.
So it's more about speed, right?
Yes.
And considering that in the future such specialists will be replaced by robots, then of course 5G is an integral part of our future, right? We just
Sure.
have to accept it. Okay, next question. What influences the success and the mass adoption of 5G technology?
Look, several factors influence the success and its wide adoption. There is so little administrative factor. This is distribution of frequencies. Now these frequencies are not available in Kazakhstan in the required range to launch that 5G. But this is being worked out by the regulator, that it should be done by the government. Yeah, this is the first part. They should free up some frequencies and give a free field for the launch of 5G. This is the first moment. The second point, as I said earlier, it's the cost of technology. That's launching now is expensive. In a year it will be more accessible there. In 2 years it will be available on a mass scale as 4G is available now, or just smartphones with a large screen, right? They are all available now. And the third is demand. Again, you need to understand that in the first question you mentioned that it's not enough for one player, for example, to start. In fact, this may be enough for one player if there is demand in the market. If people are willing to pay for this, it will make a great effect out on the development and growth.
All right. You've already conducted several experimental tests, as far as we know, in Almaty and in Nur-Sultan, of course. Can you please share the results?
Well, Kazakh Telecom together with other mobile operators conducted about 10 tests in the capital Almaty and Almaty region. Why was it done? First of all, it was a test to see how it's going to work technologically. Because you need to understand, since the technology is relatively new and we need to know how to install base stations, in what line of sight, in what decently built environment, what kind of speed of the internet will be available. Because when they say that the internet speed is to 20 gigabytes, but in reality this is the theoretical maximum, and how fast it can be in practice, right? That's all. All this was checked. We studied how to arrange.
And what are the results?
Look, we checked how to set up base stations. We tried different options. We looked at how it works in different conditions, meaning weather conditions, conditions of mass development, conditions of direct visibility. We looked at different devices and technology. We did various load tests there. Everything that we did allowed us understand what the most efficient technological configuration we must choose for our future implementations, because we want to make it effective as possible. For this, we conducted about 10 tests.
And the speed is really that fast? I heard that it's about 20 times faster.
That's right. The speed is very high, that's true. There are delays, of course, but they are actually small and can be up to 1 millisecond. And here it is important for us to understand that there is speed of the technology itself, and it can be very high indeed. However, there is also the speed of the supported device, that's the device itself. First, it may be slower in characteristics. The second point is that such a high speed is not always needed by an ordinary consumer, because you have to pay a lot of money for high speed. That is, you need to find an informed decision when a person pays a little more, but receives accordingly what he needs. That is, it can be a little faster than 4G, but still customer doesn't overpay for it.
Will there be difference in the cost of the service for businesses and individuals?
Great question. I would say that, in fact, the rules of the game do not change. Even if we are now comparing internet tariffs for individuals and legal entities, the difference is big. Why is that? Because a business has a number of, let's say, requirements that are technologically in terms of the speed and the bandwidth that are not necessarily needed by an ordinary consumer.
And the volumes as well are completely different.
And the volumes are completely different indeed. In fact, there is no need for a consumer and an individual to overpay for it. The situation is the same with 5G. The technology itself allows for very high speed of the internet connection. There are many technological advantages, but they are not needed for an ordinary individual. Therefore, tariffs will be formed based on their individual needs, for individuals according to their needs, for which they are willing to pay. Well, of course, for the segment of legal entities, for big industries, these tariffs will be more expensive, because they will pay for maximum technologies and maximum opportunities it has to offer.
So there will be difference.
Of course, and it is normal.
Since October last year, the 5th generation technology has been available in the Altel network on the territory of the International Technology Park of IT startups, Astana Hub. Your company was involved in this project. Tell us about it.
Yes, of course. Kazakh Telecom took part in this project together with NTS. These are Tele2 and Altel companies. In fact, this was, as I said before, a technology pilot that was plunged into a commercial network to test this functionality. This was done with the permission of the regulator for a certain period of time under certain conditions. And this was a pilot, as I mentioned before, that we did in order to test how it works. Why Astana Hub? Because Astana Hub hosts leading companies that can test the capabilities of the technology.
Well, then there is a very reasonable question. When is it planned to launch the 5G internet into wide use?
Look, for now and this year, it is definitely out of the question. At the moment, we are in the process of only testing the technologies. It all depends on business cases. If we are talking about mass adoption, then we are saying that 5G will appear when most of the population will have 5G-enabled phones. Then there will be demand.
Well, when do you think the time will come?
I think maybe a year or 2-3 years.
I guessed it right.
Yes, for mass adoption. Yes, you guessed it right. If there are any business cases that is industrial ones, this can be done earlier, but it won't be a mass coverage. It will be just some kind of local coverage.
I remember when cell phones first appeared in our country. Now I don't even remember the first brand. But they were big, and of course not everyone could afford them, right? This is how it will be with 5G, I think. First, some category of the population will use it, and then I think everyone will be able to afford it in the future, right?
Exactly.
Manas, thank you very much for your comprehensive answers, but still, there is one more that I cannot but ask. Moreover, there are a lot of rumors, myths, fears about 5G among people now. The fact that this connection, this system, if I call it correctly, can greatly influence your health. And also, someone even associates it with coronavirus. And in some countries, they even destroy these base stations. Well, people themselves. What can you say about this? How dangerous is it in terms of health?
Yes, a very reasonable question for today. Look, you can divide it into two parts. The first part is the technological part. That's from the point of view of technology. It has already been confirmed by such international organizations like World Health Organization, the Institute of Engineers, Electronics and Electrical Engineering, and there are also various other commissions that study in detail the effect of electromagnetic fields, including 5G, on people and on human body, that as far as technology is concerned, it doesn't have any impact. You can see it officially, there are proofs, you can read more about it on the internet.
Can we trust the data of WHO?
I think yes.
Regarding this
Look,
technology.
there is WHO and also other special organizations.
Independent.
Yes, independent organizations. They fully test from the point of view their own standards that they develop. They have their own reputation, you know, in the professional technological world. Speaking from the point of view of implementation, I will even say more. Our internal sanitary and epidemiological service standards, they are more stringent than the WHO recommends one. Accordingly, no base station will be installed by passing the sanitary and epidemiological service. This is the first moment. The second moment, why this bug hype appeared. If you have noticed, there have been a lot of so-called fakes on the internet lately. And unfortunately, they are built from the fact that when something is new, something unknown, something not yet widespread among the masses.
Uncertainty always breeds fear, right?
It creates fear, and it first creates some kind of information vacuum, which is filled by fans.
So there is little
fakes.
information.
Yes, little information, no matter how it's convenient to everyone. Well, and gradually it is already filled with more correct one. Unfortunately, most of the information, shall we say, is still fake. And this is often done on purpose. Often, whole bots are used for this, they repost this kind of information and so on.
And deliberately. For what? What is the purpose of scaring people?
Everyone's motivates are actually different.
Well, can you name one of the motives?
Maybe somehow to receive some hype from this. That is, many bloggers, foreign experts there and pseudo-experts, they begin to promote the fact that 5G is harmful, without any solid information to prove.
Yes, because the negative in the media always gives a higher rating.
Yes, I guess you know about it better than me. But it's true, and it attracts more viewership. That's something useful, or it is more exciting than reading and learning more about the technological part. Unfortunately, it is what is it. And you know, through all these, let's say, informational bombs, people are already begin to burn the post somewhere, and this spreads fear even more. Although, in fact, these cases are isolated. They diverge very quickly. That's a conclusion. I can say that you need to immerse yourself in technology a little more, learn more about it. There are international reports there, you can surely double-check all this there in the public domain, and I think it's better to trust scientific sources.
Well, in general, to improve your digital literacy.
Yes.
Thank you, Manas, for taking the time to come to Ulken, and we wish you the best of luck on the digital Silk Road. We will wait for the 5G icon to appear on our new smartphones.
5G.
Online education. At the beginning of the year, such a phrase would have seemed to us something distant and alien. Yes, it happens, but somewhere out there abroad. However, in March 2020, school children and students were transferred to online education due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This decision was extended for the new academic year. Programmer Rinat Hakimov is working on the development of the Open Kaznu platform, which is the largest online knowledge platform in Kazakhstan. And today, Rinat is visiting the talk show Ulkeni.
Rinat Hakimov is a programmer, developer of the online platform for open education Open Kaznu.
Здравствуйте, Ренат.
Rinat,
Hello.
hello. Welcome to our program. Make yourself at home and don't forget that you're on the air. Please, tell us about your job.
В чем заключается ваша работа?
Я работаю программистом.
I work as a programmer, developing software products in web technologies, in particular, website development. At the university, I develop online platforms to provide online courses.
Open Kaznu platform provides access to more than 40 courses in 15 directions.
По 15 направлениям.
Please explain the step-by-step diagram of the process. For example, I am interested in IT.
The National Forum of Education and the Internal University Education Platform provides registration in 3 options. This is a free registration, when you can enroll in a course and take it anytime. These are semester courses, as the teaching progresses and the instructors post their courses. And it's also possible to study in the group mode, when a group for each the training takes place is formatted in advance. Since the university is tied to formal education, traditional, the semester from is mainly used. The author of the course determines the start and end dates in advance. And students register in advance, take the course, and the author of course leads it. That is, he's the one who supports students, communicates with them in online forums. To register, you just need your email. After activation, you need to find your course of interest, in particular in the IT field.
Нужно просто свой email. После активации нужно просто найти свой курс интересующий, в частности в IT-сфере.
Rinat, do these courses imply higher education or more as a professional development courses?
They can perform both of those functions, as well as raising the level of your qualification. Some courses can be used by students to set off credits. That is, they can determine in advance which course can replace another course. And after passing and receiving the final grade for the course he took, he passes it and it counts as passing the other one.
Rinat, you have over 16,000 registered users and over 500 unique visitors per day. In general, what volume of requests can the Open Kaznu platform handle? And what indicators do you plan to achieve in the future?
После ввода карантина мы зарегистрировали очень большой всплеск пользователей.
After the introduction of quarantine, we registered a very large surge of users. The highest value at the peak was 1,400 users per day on average. In the school year, we have 150 and 200 users per day. In the next education process, we plan to increase the number of users due to the fact that general education courses such as political science, cultural studies will be offered.
Будут размещаться курсы общего образования, такие как политология, культурология.
А вообще, какой
In general, how much volume of visitors can your platform handle?
In principle, we are not limited in increasing resources, and we are ready for a large number of users.
So 1,500 users is not the limit, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Хорошо.
Do you think higher education can become fully digitalized?
Образование стать полным
And how long will it take?
и сколько времени на это понадобится?
Традиционное образование подразумевает не
Traditional education implies not only the transfer of information and knowledge, but also an educational function.
Сейчас некоторые дисциплины частично можно
Now, some disciplines, in part, can be transferred online.
технологии,
The technology allowed this. In particular,
IT,
IT can be largely transferred to an online platform, but traditional education was originally meant as a transfer of cultural potential for people,
подразумевалось как
socialization. Because children, after graduating from school, they need adaptation to an independent life, and therefore communication with teachers,
нужна адаптация,
communication with their fellow students are important.
и поэтому общение с преподавателями, общение со своими сокурсниками,
Оффлайн.
Offline, right?
да, то есть
Yes, that means life. It gives a young person that potential to start his adult life. Online education, of course, cannot provide all these functions, you know. I think that a mixed form of traditional and online education is possible.
онлайн-обучение,
So, people will use all the advantages of the traditional education.
дистанционного.
Ну что ж,
Well, Renat, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I wish you success in everything.
она
May you have more online courses and a desire to learn.
желание учиться. Покупать
Buying real estate and getting a master's degree in 2 clicks on your smartphone and at a speed 20 times faster than today is the smallest of the opportunities that the future holds for us.
который сулит нам
Sounds good,
будущее.
but what will it cost us?
Но чего нам это будет стоить?
Just total honesty.
Всего лишь тотальный
Those who intend to be a decent citizen of the state
гражданин.
have nothing to fear.
Бояться нечего.
Personal data of such a person is unlikely to attract the attention of law enforcement agencies,
Утечку, да,
and today they are more and more responsible for data leakage. Perhaps we should trade skepticism for curiosity and boldly face the new reality.
новой реальности.
My name is Aysel Akbarova. See you soon.
Ulken.